Hi, everybody. This is Lisa Benson from Benson's Boas. And today I'm going to talk to you about the Tarahumara Boa, the Tarahumara Mountain Boa. Notice I'm modeling my Brian Boas merch, but which I love, by the way. Thank you, Brian. This Tarahumara Mountain Boa came from Brian Boas, and he was born in 2022. So he's just shy of being able to breed, although the females aren't quite ready yet. So I have two pairs of these. One pair came from Michael Beach and the other pair from Brian. So this is Titus, and he's very cool. He's got a really nice color on him, so you can see how beautiful his coloration is. These boas are really, they have really got a place in my heart. And I'll tell you why. For one thing, they are really, really nice to handle. And they are just so compact and easy to work with. They are perfect for people who don't have a ton of room. Now, I'm lucky. I do have quite a bit of space. But for people who don't have a ton of space, these boas don't mature to much more than 4 feet. And so they can really live their whole life in a 2x2x4 enclosure. They don't require high humidity or high temperatures. In fact, in their natural environment, they come from very high elevation environments. They come from the Tarahumara Mountains ranges, which are in northern Mexico, in the west side of Mexico. And they are in these mountain islands that see some pretty extremes in temperature. And so they're very hardy little boas. They love to just sit on your hand. I can hold these guys for as long as I want to. They really don't go anywhere. They're known, a little bit to be a little hissy when they're babies, but when they mature, they are perfectly wonderful. I've never been struck at by one, never been bit, and they are just absolutely phenomenal. One thing that's really interesting about them is they are pretty similar in appearance. They all have these circled back markings and a head spear that's like an arrow. Some have a little cross across the front. They have varying amounts of beautiful, like peach colors, and some of them even have blues and greens. And they can change throughout the day. In the morning, sometimes they're lighter, and sometimes they get darker. But all in all, just a wonderful, wonderful little boa with a great personality. Can't recommend them highly enough. So this is my male from Brian Boas, and this is Titus, and I'll get out my female from Brian Boas. This is my female from Brian Boas, Tara, and she is also beautifully colored, and look how beautiful. Now she's a little bit larger. In my case, both my females are a bit larger than the males. And I don't know if that's typical of the species or not, but that is the case here. I think the females, are a little bit slower to mature in terms of their sexual reproduction capability. So even though my males are showing signs of wanting to breed, in fact, they went off their feet a little bit when the breeding season started. I think they were ready to be ready, and they were leaving me little gifts in their enclosure showing that they were ready. But the females, I probably need to wait a couple more years before I can pair them up. And these guys are also wonderfully docile. I can just reach in and pick them right up. A lot of times when I open the enclosure, they'll come right over to me. They just climb right out onto my hand. Wonderful little boas. So the story behind these is that a researcher from the University of Arizona picked up a pair of these and brought them back to University of Arizona and somehow they found their way into private collectors' hands. And eventually, Gus Renfro from Rio Bravo Reptiles ended up being able to breed them. And so, it's believed that all the Tarahumara Mountain Boas in the pet trade came from literally a single pair. They are very, very similar in appearance. So it's interesting. But, you can see, again, the circle back pattern, which is lovely, and the beautiful, beautiful pattern and color she has. This is Tara. And the head marking, which is very characteristic. Let's see if I can get her in camera. The head marking, which is very characteristic of the Tarahumara. So again, this is Tara. And these are characterized as a Boa Sigma. Not too long ago, actually, they were differentiated by DNA sequencing from Boa Imperator. And it was discovered that these boas from the western side of Mexico were actually genetically different enough to classify them as a different species. So now I'll get out my Tarahumaras from Michael Beach. This is my little buddy Tito from Michael Beach. He is also a 2022 Tarahumara Mountain Boa. And you can see these boas are a little bit darker than the ones I have from Brian. These are also about the same size. The male is a little bit smaller than the female, and but you can see he's a little bit darker. He does have some cool peach-colored coloration on his belly and on his sides, but not as much as the ones from Brian. He also has the head spear, which is characteristic of the Tarahumaras. And he has the circle back pattern. Again, lovely personality on these guys. They will just sit in your hands. He will come right out onto my arm when I open the enclosure. Very social little boa. Just love them. I mean, they really have found a place in my heart. So this is Tito. I can't wait to start breeding these guys. I'll get out Taran, who is my female from Michael Beach. Here's Taran. Taran is the largest of all my Tarahumara Mountain Boas. She's also a 2022 baby, but she is larger. She's eating small rats at this point every 2 weeks and doing really well. She's also that darker color. You can see her pattern. Just a beautiful boa. I keep these guys in 2x2x4s, animal plastics enclosures. Again, they're so easy to care for. Really, really easy temperature requirements. I keep them a little bit cooler than my BCCs and BCI. Their temperatures really stay about 85 hot spot and 75 cool spot. I've heard that to breed them, you want them to be cooled a bit lower. And this one has a very pretty head stamp. Let me see if I can show you. Her head stamp is really lovely. Her face is very pretty. And they don't need as high a humidity as other more tropical species of boa. In fact, these guys get very excited when I do the humidity spray in their enclosure. They come right out and they start like moving around really fast. They all come out. So it's funny how they react to water. I think maybe rain is not such a common occurrence in their natural environment, and they come out and they really seem to revel in it. So I think they like it when it rains, but they seem to really think that it's not such a common occurrence. So maybe where they come from, it doesn't rain all that frequently. But I just love them and wanted to share them with you. These are, in my opinion, a must for any locality breeder. They are a true dwarf species and absolutely wonderful, the Tarahumara Mountain Boa. Anyway, this is Lisa Benson. I'll see you next week. Benson's Boas. Bye.